Top tiers. If you've played fighting games competitively for any amount of time, you've probably run into the idea of a tier list. Tier lists are essentially rankings of anything, top to bottom, S to F. There are tier lists about food, drinks, TV shows, movies, MLB teams, even Argentina apparently. Tier lists are most commonly seen in video games though. Fighting games, tier lists are about the strength and viability of characters in a game, or sometimes how much porn there is of them, apparently. In a lot of modern fighting games, rosters are generally well balanced, with most if not all characters being able to compete at a top level. Many old fighting games, however, have really spread out tier lists with clear winners and clear losers. No matter how hard you try to balance a game though, chances are there's still a handful of characters that will still rise to the top to that legendary top tier status. But what makes these characters stand out among the rest? What makes a top tier? First, we need to talk about one important thing to think about is the main general game plan for every character in your game. Is it to play neutral well and have good footsies, slowly chipping away at the other person's health until the perfect moment, or is it to move on your opponent, putting them in an inescapable vortex, draining their health until the game is over? Or is it to... What an answer! Something you'll see across many top tiers is they're all really good at playing their game very well. Melee is a fast-paced game, all about fluid movement and crazy combos. And with no other characters this more apparent than with this game's best character, Fox McCloud. Fox is the second fastest character in the game with the lowest possible jump squat at 3 frames. Pair this with like a decent wave dash length and you already have the perfect character for an offensive rushdown playstyle. But not only is Fox really fast, he has some of the best frame data in the entire game. His raw speed and quick moveset allow him to play whatever speed he wants, breaking through defensive play and completely overpowering with his insane offense. There's one move though that pushes Fox to the absolute tippy top of the game's tier list. His down special, his Reflector. This move, commonly called Shine by the community, comes out on frame 1 or in a 60th of a second. Along with this move's already unbelievable speed, you can jump to cancel the move as soon as it comes out, meaning that if done perfectly, this move has 1 frame of startup and 4 frames of recovery. This move gimps off stage, can break him out of combos, can lead into combos and kill confirms, and probably does his taxes too, not gonna lie. Another character that plays their own game really well is Chun-Li in Street Fighter Third Strike. Third Strike is often called the greatest fighting game of all time due to its depth, charming roster, and the absolute banger soundtrack. Street Fighter as a series has always had a really big emphasis on neutral, trying to find your footing and setting up your character's game plan without putting yourself at too much of a risk. Chun-Li is very good at playing defensively, building her meter with her fast, far-reaching, high-priority back plus HP. In fact, almost all of her buttons have high priority and are relatively safe, so she can get away with pressing a lot of moves without having to commit to too much. As said before, top tiers are really good at playing to their game's strengths, but what happens when they... Imagine you're going to a boxing tournament, right? Like, even imagine you're the greatest boxer ever, the best hand-to-hand combatant of all time. And then this guy challenges you to a fight. And you're like, oh, I'll probably win, you know, I'm the best boxer ever, you know, I'm like Mike Tyson in this bitch. And then the guy pulls out a knife. That's Brawl Meta Knight. In a game with practically no real combos, sluggish, floaty movement, and literal tripping, Meta Knight is the exception. Meta Knight is similar to Fox in the way that they both have an extremely good movement, great fame data, and incredibly strong combo game. However, while Fox isn't a game defined by its speed and flashiness, Meta Knight simply feels like he doesn't belong. Meta Knight has 5 mid-air jumps as well as a super quick up air. In fact, it's so fast he can do 3 up airs in one short hop, and he can even combo into itself over and over, just carrying people off the top. Brawl's tier list pretty much just evolved into who can deal with Meta Knight the best rather than the actual best characters. And I don't have a funny transition, so I'm gonna start talking about Pet Shop now. JoJo's Bizarre Adventure is a show about big muscular men fighting with their big muscular fighting ghosts. So you'd assume that the best character in the JoJo fighting game would be a very big muscular man with a very big muscular ghost, right? Nope, it's a fucking bird. Being a bird, Pet Shop is able to fly through the air, meaning he just completely invalidates many low-hitting moves, which are very good in this game generally. Pet Shop also has a passive stand, meaning he doesn't have the ability to just press a button to activate his stand when he wants to. Instead, he gets a small special move associated with his stand. Almost all of the game's top tiers have active stands, which is where you do press the button to get your stand. In fact, as far as I know, Pet Shop is the only passive stand top tier, or even high tier. For Pet Shop specifically, his passive stand lets him shoot small, low damage icicles at the opponent. The fact that Pet Shop can fucking fly, as well as have great movement and be able to shoot these small projectiles with really low commitment, that already sounds like a pretty broken top tier. But the thing that makes Pet Shop crazy are his big ass icicles that fall from the sky. He can bake these icicles while moving, blocking, doing basically anything. And since you're not locked into lag while doing these, you can set up for unblockable setups by having one fall from overhead while you're doing a low move. Plus, since he's doing this while blocking, if you use a move that's minus on block, he can just kill you for it. And just like every other character on this list so far, he has great frame data and great movement speed. And then finally, some characters are just Minecraft Steve is the pretty much undisputed #1 character in Smash Ultimate, and it's pretty obvious why. Steve has arguably like the most unique kit in any platform fighter or almost any fighting game, being able to literally just create platforms and walls when he wants to. These block setups can lead into like the most crazy combos of all time. He can use them to recover, he can use them to like stop himself from falling, to mix up his landing. He can also just like put them at the ledge and then not let other characters recover because they hit the block. It's really fucking funny. Steve also has to like mine for resources, which open up moveset buffs for his normals, as well as giving him access to his minecart, command grab that also acts as a projectile. Steve can upgrade his tools from wood to either stone, iron, gold, or diamond, like Minecraft, depending on the resources Steve has available for him. These materials also change from stage to stage, with some stages giving him easier access to iron, more access to wood, and even some just changing which blocks he gets altogether. Most of the time when it's a change of block, it's just for aesthetic purposes though, like if he's on a sand stage, he'll get sand instead of dirt. Pretty cute, I like it. The upgrades Steve get to his moves boosts his damage, knockback, and even the speed of his moves. And while things like stamina and limited access to moves have always been a thing, I still think that Steve's durability system on his tools is really unique, just because it's like a direct reference to Minecraft. Steve quite literally breaks the game on a fundamental level in no way that any other fighter even comes remotely close to. This brokenness, both literally and just how good he is, has even led him to being banned in some states. In fact, for a decent portion of 2023, he was banned in like a majority of regions on Earth. I love Minecraft Steve, and I originally just had this video as an idea just so I could talk about Steve for a while, because he's my main, he's my best pal. Oh yeah, I love Minecraft. And although he's nowhere near as powerful as Steve, another weird and complex top tier that I like is Carl Clover from BlazBlue Central Fiction. According to a lot of tier lists, Carl's like the middle of top tier. Carl is a puppet character, controlling himself as well as his robot weapon thing Nirvana. I don't know, I've never looked into the lore of this game. Carl and Nirvana are controlled at roughly the same time, yet perform completely different moves. Carl tends to use quicker, less damaging attacks, while Nirvana uses her long-range, slow, powerful moves. Carl's main game plan is to put the opponent between himself and Nirvana and then lock them into combos and strings, being able to take away most of their opponent's escape options. Nirvana's 4D is a huge move and pulls the opponent towards her, while causing a hard knockdown if it hits in the air. Carl without Nirvana is super weak and fragile, having really low health. But once you get into advantage, Carl can shut games down quickly while not letting the opponent have their turn. I don't really play a lot of BlazBlue just because it's kind of difficult, but watching the game at top level is super interesting, and I really recommend like watching some sets or even trying the game out yourself if you've never done it. Every single fighting game has good characters, some stronger than others, and I definitely didn't list every single top tier out there because that would take hours. Fighting games are super fun, and just because there are some really good characters, that shouldn't stop you from picking whoever the fuck you want and just having fun. Most modern fighting games, you can kick your friend's ass with pretty much whatever character you feel like, and you can even do well at tournaments with them on occasion. At least in Smash Bros, a top player named Big D was performing super well for a while with Ice Climbers, a really underrepresented underrepresented character that a lot of people didn't have a lot of faith in. Top tiers are a staple of pretty much every single type of competition. No matter what, something will always be better than another thing, and nowhere is this more evident than in fighting games. However, there are almost always those big upsets, those big, huge wins that came out of left field. And while this video was made to highlight the crazy top tiers in games, just know that in Smash, in any fighting game, or just in life, you can always pull back from behind, always be the underdog, and win. Unless you're Brawl Ganon, because you're just dog shit at that point.
Okay, he wanna talk, that boy talking that shit. If you play on my songs, hope you know I don't miss. That boy talking that shit like I care who he diss. We gon' beat the boy ass, he gon' leave with a list. That bitch said that she hate me like she ain't suck dick. Like I'm teaching Korean, I fucking I did. Like I Tyler, my outfits be throwing the fist. Put his name on my death note, he on my list. I'm sipping on Finna though, this is not Trish, bitch. I feel like I'm Glaive, I'm pissed, bitch. I'm finna cut you like some wrist, bitch. Forgot that I can't see that shit.